Hi, I'm Dave Trull with the Trull Gallery, and I'm going to talk to you today about how to use a miter saw. What I'm using here today is a sliding compound miter saw, which is kind of the top of the food chain of miter saws. It does everything. There are some basic things you're going to see on all your saws. There is a miter adjustment in the front, but they also have a fairly accurate miter along the bottom that you can work off of, but it always helps to double check. A lot of them will have a two-part sliding fence, and by sliding fence, I mean it can come in and out, and that allows you to get a nice clean cut. As you can see here, I've replaced my factory fence with a wooden fence. Other things you can look for on miter saws, it's a clamping system, so you can hold your stock down when you're cutting angles. Another option you're going to see on some of the saws is the ability to tilt the head. And there's a lever, depending on the manufacturer, generally in the back, but not always. Some saws can tilt to the left, some can tilt to the right. Like mine can tilt both ways. And there's usually a stop at 0, so when you bring it back to that stop, you can go ahead and lock your saw back in place. Your trigger mechanism, almost always going to have a trigger guard or a locking mechanism, so if I pull my trigger now, it's not going to start. I have a safety button on this side that I have to hit. Most saws have that type of mechanism. And the last, and probably the most important, is the blade guard. And the blade guard is there to keep both your fingers away from the blade, and it does help with some of the dust from being thrown right back at your face. And the nice thing about these is as the saw goes down, the guard comes up automatically. At this point, we'll go ahead and put our safety gear on, and we can make a cut. And we just put our stock up against the fence. We want to make sure we have a nice clean edge for the fence. Put our stock up against it wherever we're going to make our cut. We bring our saw out, depress the trigger mechanism and the trigger, and then make our cut. Once the blade stops, get rid of our offcut, and we now have a nice clean 90-degree cut. So real quick, that's how to operate a compound miter saw. I'm Dave Trull with the Trull Gallery, the fine art of furniture making.